In OneState RP, you can either live a life of luxury and power, or you can live a life of poverty and shame. In this video, I'll teach you how to get from $0 to riches as efficiently as possible, starting as a complete beginner. If you're new to the game and you're struggling to get money, this video is going to help you massively, so please, if it is useful for you, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to help me get it out there. First, let's run through everything that's not going to help you make money effectively. Jobs in OneState are pretty much good for one thing only, which is completing the event tasks. They pay you pretty much nothing per shift, and most of them take a good few minutes to complete, so the overall pay rates aren't good at all. The only time it makes sense to complete the jobs are as part of your daily and global monthly event tasks, and to avoid you wasting more time than you need to, your best bet is to stick to the mining job, as this one's the quickest to complete by far. The higher levels take as little as 30 seconds on some runs, other jobs are going to take at least 2 minutes. Factions in OneState are advertised as a consistent moneymaker, and it's not exactly a lie, but you're going to be paid a small amount of money every 30 minutes based on your ranking within the faction. Most people are earning under 50k every 30 minutes, and to put that into perspective, you'd need to work for 50 hours to buy a razor from the dealership with stock parts. It doesn't mean that joining a gang automatically makes you more money, but it does give you the freedom to spend your time doing what you want, rather than being bound to faction RP and their time schedules. Activities in OneState are scheduled events, either built into the game or custom built and run by the server administration. The current gang activities in the game are Harbour Heist and Arsenal Raid, and then you'll have a bunch of different custom events such as races, comedy nights, rap battles and more. When you play in the gang activities, you'll be rewarded gang tokens and honour points, which are good for the gang leaderboard and for some of your event tasks and challenges. However, you're not going to get a monetary reward for these. On the custom admin events, the rewards differ depending on the layout set by the admins, but in general, it's not going to be a life-changing amount of money. These events are all fun and they help to split up the game, so I definitely do still do them, but they aren't going to be making you very much money, to be honest. Flipping cars is one of the most effective money makers in the entire game. However, if you're focusing on flipping cheap eco cars like greens and blues, you're wasting your time and you're not making enough money. Vehicle parts cost a lot in OneState, but when you save them over time and use them effectively on the right cars with high margins, you will make a lot of money. But if you're putting them on cheap cars, the margins are so small that it's almost not even worth using them. Now we've talked about what doesn't work, let's take a look at some of the slightly more effective methods. As a new player, you should have access to the Fame Clash event. This is basically just a leaderboard of new players and a race to gain the most XP in your first week. If you do manage to get first place, the current prize is a VX7, which will sell for 840k on liquidation, but if you do go and add some parts to it, this will rise much higher. It makes a really good start to your new account. It's well worth at least attempting to do this if you've got the time, and to actually complete it, you will probably need to do a lot of the low profit methods we just talked about to boost your XP, such as jobs. This is probably one of the only other cases where it's actually viable to do those. Now, the monthly and the bi-weekly events are my favourite personal method because you have unlimited potential. You've basically got a list of daily and global tasks and a leveled pass to work your way through. When you complete tasks, you're not only going to level up your pass, but you're also going to earn event tokens which you can spend in the event store. Now, if you have a look at the event store, you can see that we can buy cases, and that's exactly how we're going to make money with this. If you can afford to buy Premium or even Premium Plus, that's going to be a huge bonus, but it's not completely required and you are still going to get good returns without spending money if you don't want to. In my personal opinion, at least in this current event, I'm going for the Britannia Bounty cases over the Epic cases just because, for me, there's a few less irrelevant rewards in there. You should always be buying the expensive rewards first and save your tokens for them, rather than just buying the cheapest ones you can, because you're going to get so much better value doing it this way. And once you get a good car, you can either choose to sell it as it is, or you can put some parts on. Remember that you can sell these both to other players, or you can sell them at disposal. Just make sure you're only doing disposal when the liquidation event's active. Usually that's once every 2 weeks, but it can differ depending on your server. The gang leaderboard is not necessarily a beginner-friendly way to make money, but if you can get yourself a spot in one of the top gangs, you're going to receive these gifts, as well as other rewards that contain cases. The gang seasons run every 2 weeks, so this is a good way to get regular cases and get more chances at expensive cars, but do bear in mind that pushing honour points with your gang is time consuming, and if you're not staying active, you're probably going to get kicked. The try your luck sections in OneState can be good in some cases, but the key thing to know is that you will need a decent budget to be able to max them out. This is one of the quickest ways that you get yourself an expensive car, but just don't expect to only spend a few coins and get the car because it's just not realistic. If you've got some budget but not enough to max out the try your luck rewards, then one method that you can do that can be quite effective is buying a small amount of coins and cases each day to get more event tokens and to then get yourself more shots at getting expensive cars through the cases. And now we'll talk about what I think are the most effective methods. The most popular method of making big amounts of money is flipping high margin cars. This is usually going to be gold and red cars, but some purples have also got good margins too. The idea is basically that you'll either win or buy a car for as cheap as possible, usually in stock form, and then add parts to it gradually, then either selling it through a disposal at the liquidation event, or selling it to another player for a profit. In some cases, you might not even need to add any parts to be able to flip it for a profit if the purchase price is right, but do bear in mind that you're going to have a cooldown on sales, so you will be stuck with any cars that you buy for at least a few days. When I say that your purchasing price needs to be right, the values will fluctuate between the servers, and the supply of each car on each server is going to make a huge difference. So cars that are available in the premium dealership can be a little bit easier to work with because then you know what the standard cost is and you've got a reference point. Now, flipping properties and enterprises follows exactly the same principles as flipping cars, but the main difference is that you can't add parts to increase the property or enterprise value. The main focus here is going to be on the purchasing price. Again, this is dependent on your server, so you're going to need to do some research. What I would suggest is that you ask other people who are buying and selling properties in enterprise to figure out what their average prices are. Another angle you can take with these is scarcity and supply, so basically buying and holding property in enterprises at a time where there's a lot available and waiting until the demand increases with less available for sale. In these cases, you can sell for a lot more than the average market value, so your purchase price doesn't matter as much, but it still definitely helps to get it for cheap. Now that's pretty much everything that you need to know to get set up in OneState and start making money. I've got plenty more videos coming up, including guns and how to get them, cars, so VM, disposal, liquidation prices and the upgrades and their impact, how to spend your real money effectively, case openings, gang battles, funny moments, and a whole lot more. So if you're looking for a channel dedicated to OneState content, drop a like on the video and subscribe to my channel to keep posted on my other videos.